Hello everyone! So today we're gonna talk about my favorite travel apps, as you can guess from the title. I'm actually going to skip all the ones that have to do with booking flights and booking hotels because, truth to be told, I actually don't really use them. I normally book my flights and hotels on my laptop on different websites, but I'm gonna tell you which apps I love to use right before I go on my trip or when I'm already on location traveling and, you know, trying to find like restaurants, public transportation and all that jazz. So yeah, let's start with the first one. Not sure if you can hear it, but there's Mr. Whippy in front of my window right now, which is an ice cream van. Okay, the music's gone. Okay, let's do this. So the first app that I love to use when I start planning my trip is Google Trips. It's one of my favorite apps ever. It's so good. Firstly, it kind of extracts the information you have on your emails, like if you use Gmail. So next week I'm going to Copenhagen, and here in reservations I can already see which flights I booked, which airport I need to go to, when I'm traveling, which dates I'm traveling on, what the number of my flight is. I have my Airbnb saved in here, and I didn't save it myself, it just kind of transferred over from my Gmail. So this is very handy if you need like any confirmation numbers and just like the times and stuff like that. So moving down the app, you would have things to do, which basically gives you all the attractions to go through, and you can see when they're open. You can click on them and you get a little description of them. You see where they are on the map, you get the address, you can call like the website, all the links, and you also get reviews down below. There's like a lot of different like tabs here that you can click on. So you have the top spots, you have local favorites. For Copenhagen, for example, you have Danish design, parks and gardens, Royal Copenhagen. I like to kind of go through everything and mark the places that I want to visit. You can actually mark places by clicking this bookmark button, I guess. And then what I do is I click on Start Places, and when I go on the map in the corner right here, I would have all the start places together. So if I'm exploring the city and I'm in a certain location, I can see what else is around me. Then you have day plans. This is really useful if you kind of don't want to plan a trip yourself, or maybe you don't have time, or just to help you plan your trip. So here you have daily plans that you can like use, I guess. So you have Royal Copenhagen, which includes 6 sites. These are just kind of like helpful routes, I guess, and it also gives them to you in order and shows you where they are on the map. Then what I love is food and drink section, which doesn't only show you top spots like for dining, but also it gives you a little overview. And it actually tells you what the local specialties are, so what food is good to try, and it just gives you a little bit of information on yeah, dining out and like nightlife. I see another feature here. A similar category is getting around, where you can get all information on transport, how to get from the airport, how much it will cost you, which public transport exists. You could get like tickets and prices. You even get recommended taxi services, tips on driving or walking and biking. Like, it covers all the basics. And the last section is Need to Know, which again covers even more basic information: health and emergency numbers, shopping, money, internet. This is my all-time favorite travel app to like get the gist of the place and get me started on planning. Another app that I like to use as an inspiration for planning is actually Instagram. I know it's not a travel app, but if you go check location tags, you can find a lot of recommendations for cool restaurants just by looking at the pictures. Or what I like to do as well is I go to the country's official account, so an account that a tourist board would usually run, and look through their content, because again, they would usually have some really good restaurant recommendations and point out like the main attractions. And Instagram is also good to get photo inspiration. If you like to take photos when you travel, you can find some really cool Insta spots. Now, when I'm already traveling and am in a certain city, if I don't have a list of restaurants that I would like to visit before, I like to use TripAdvisor. I'm sure you already know this app. It just gives you a lot of touristy suggestions. You can filter the restaurants by like budget and by how popular they are. I love that you can see all the reviews along with the photos. So if I want to go to a certain restaurant, I really love to see how the food looks like there. I don't know, it's just like easier to decide whether it's gonna be like good to eat there. So TripAdvisor is one of those. A similar app is Yelp. And sometimes I also go on Timeout, which doesn't really cover the whole world, but most bigger cities will have their own Timeout website or app, like Timeout Amsterdam, Timeout London, and I find them really good to find cool new restaurants as well as events that are happening while you're there. Concerts, exhibitions, just anything that's pretty much going on in the city. Now on location, one app that you might find useful is actually Google Translate. I don't use it all that often, but I really love one feature of the app that actually works really well. I'm really surprised about it, and that I'll definitely use a lot if I, for example, go to a country like China where I can't understand the writing and I can't type in the writing in my mobile phone. There's basically this feature called the camera, and what you can do is take a photo of a text. So take a photo of a menu in a restaurant and it's gonna translate all the text to you from a picture. That's like mind-boggling to me, but yeah, it's really cool and it actually works. I've tried it just to test it out and I cannot wait to use it at one point in my life. Moving on to transport apps. Now, if you know me in real life, you've probably already heard about the app that I'm going to mention because I feel like I'm mentioning it all the time. It's called Citymapper. A lot of people use Google Maps, but my choice is Citymapper. I think it functions way better. It's way more user-friendly, way more accurate. Unfortunately, it's not available all over the world, but most bigger cities are covered. I've used it in Lisbon, I've used it in Berlin, I've used it in Amsterdam, I'm gonna use it in Copenhagen, and I use it every single day in London. So yeah, a lot of big cities are covered from all across the globe. What I love about this app is that you can just put in the location you want to go to, and it gives you all the options as far as public transport goes. It gives you all the combinations of like trains and buses you can take. It says how much time it's gonna take you to walk somewhere. It tells you how much time in total you're gonna spend if you take a train or a bus or whatever. It tells you how much you're gonna spend. I love that it also tells you if like the trains are delayed or cancelled, and it basically shows you which stop you need to get off at, which stop you need to get on at. It gives you information on all the stops in between. It also tells you how much walking you're gonna have to do, and above you actually get a map. So when you do arrive to a certain train station, for example, it shows you where exactly you need to walk to get to your final destination. One minor feature that I really love as well is the fact that you can put in your home address and your work address. So when I'm out and about on the weekend, I can just press get me home and it's gonna give me all the options on how to get home. Right, so Citymapper is an app that I would use in a city for public transport. But if I'm planning a road trip or something like that, an app that I really love is called Rome to Rio. Again, it is really accurate. It gives you like all the route information, how much it's gonna cost you, how much time it's gonna take. You can see like the route on a map. And yeah, without repeating myself, it kind of functions in a similar way than Citymapper, but it covers basically the whole world, not just cities. And it will also give you information if you want to travel with a car or even a plane, to be honest. Last but not least is an app that I like to use to stay in touch with my family and friends back home, especially if you travel to another continent, You all know that calls can be very, very expensive, but most places nowadays do have Wi-Fi. You can even get data for really cheap. So instead of calling people, you would just, I guess, use different apps to stay in touch with people that only require the internet. The app that I like to use the most is Viber, just because I'm used to it. It is linked to a phone number, and yeah, you can share videos, photos through it. You can call each other. Another app is WhatsApp that I also use here in London. Again, it's the same, but it has one more option. You can actually send voice notes, and then obviously you can also use Skype, but I find Skype to be more glitchy sometimes for some reason. I don't know. And obviously Facebook Messenger and Instagram's messages, DMs, or on Twitter or whatever are really helpful as well, but you can't really call through them. Right, so these were my favorite travel apps, or I guess the travel apps that I use most often when I'm traveling and planning my travels. I'm not sure if any of them were news to you, because I'm pretty sure the majority of people used them. But yeah, I thought that I would share the ones that I use most often in case you haven't heard of them yet. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more travel tips. I think the next time I'm going to see you might be in Copenhagen. If not, then the second video after this one will be from Copenhagen. So yeah, I'll see you on Wednesday or Sunday at the latest, I guess. Bye!
About to leave, already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking.